Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans, the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome into The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I'm your host, Justin Smith, the Director of Recruiting and Managing Editor here at Touchdown, Alabama. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on the YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Subscribe to the notification bell. Be notified and drop content on our YouTube channel. On this episode of The Process, I want to talk about two recruits who could be committing to the Crimson Tide really soon. Before I dive into that, though, I do want to remind you guys to please hit that subscribe button to be updated on everything Alabama football and everything Alabama football recruiting. On The Process, we break down the latest in Alabama football recruiting news for Touchdown Alabama. So please be sure to hit that subscribe button. On today's episode, like I said earlier, I want to talk about two prospects who will announce commitment decisions on this month, and the Crimson Tide are in the mix for these guys. Both of these prospects were in Atlanta over the weekend. We had an opportunity to travel to Georgia to check out the Under Armour next Atlanta stop, which is always a great camp. Always a great camp to cover because you get an opportunity to see so many top prospects from the state of Alabama, from the state of Georgia and surrounding states. You get to see them compete and get an opportunity to catch up with them as well to check on the latest in their recruitment. Both of those guys were in Georgia, so we'll have updates from them on this episode and also some other top targets for the Crimson Tides in Alabama and in Alabama commit. So stay locked in with us here at Touchdown Alabama as always. But start off this episode of The Process, I want to talk about a prospect who I've talked about in previous episodes. In 2026, four-star offensive lineman Barber McWhorter out of Cass High School in Georgia. One of the top offensive linemen who were in attendance for this camp actually took home an invite to the 2026 Under Armour All-America game. He's set to announce his commitment decision on February 28th. He will choose between the Crimson Tide, of course, a school who he has talked about highly in the past. He talked about his relationship with the Crimson Tide's head coach, Kaden Prothro, saying that there is no head coach who is recruiting him that he has spent more time with or around than Kaden Prothro. Of course, Alabama actually hosted him a couple of weekends ago for their junior day, and he said his relationship with the Crimson Tide was very, very strong. He said he felt really good about Alabama at that specific point in his recruitment. Talking about a 6'4", 290-pound agile offensive lineman expected to be an interior offensive lineman at the next level. And as you guys can see from this footage, he was really impressive at that camp. Strong base, strong punch, just a lot to like about Barber McWhorter. Of course, he's a four-star offensive lineman on a couple of different recruiting sites. He's a three-star on others. I think he will have an opportunity to be a four-star across the board, as he will come off the board on February 28th and choose between the Crimson Tide, Clemson, Florida, Michigan, and South Carolina. I think Alabama's in a really, really good position with McWhorter, so we'll keep you updated on him as well. Jordan Edmonds was another four-star recruit who was in attendance, another Georgia prospect. We're talking about a 6'3" defensive back who's set to announce his commitment on February 19th. He will also choose between the Crimson Tide and some other programs like Florida, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. Alabama has been building a relationship with Edmonds for more than a year, offered him for close to a year at this point, offered him in March of 2024. Talking about 6'3" athletic defensive back, shines on both sides of the football for his high school, Sprayberry High School in Marietta, Georgia. When you're talking about a guy who is as long as a Edmonds, you're talking about a long defensive back. When you're talking about the cornerback position, that is what so many programs across the country are going after. They're going after those long, athletic defensive backs who can go stride to stride with wide receivers, who can make plays like he just made right there. He can use his length, his long arms to his advantage in coverage. He also can use that length to jam wide receivers at the line of scrimmage and get back and run stride to stride with them. You see, he's able to come down and help him run support at times as well. So Jordan Edmonds is a prospect to watch out for this month for the Crimson Tide. 6'3", four-star athletic defensive back who choose between the Crimson Tide and several schools like Florida, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. Look out for Edmonds as he continues to work through his recruitment. Another Georgia prospect I want to shine a light on today is Anthony Davis. Yet another prospect, an opportunity to see over the weekend. You're talking about a four-star linebacker out of Grayson High School in Georgia who recently picked up an offer from the Crimson Tide in January. Alabama's coaching staff, including Kalen DeBoer, the Crimson Tide's outside linebacker coach Christian Robinson, Alabama's newest linebacker coach Chuck Morrell also had the opportunity to get out to Georgia to check on Anthony Davis as well. He is set to officially visit the Crimson Tide in the future. He does have plans to officially visit. Also will officially visit programs like Auburn, Ole Miss, Texas, and USC. When you take a look at Davis, you're talking about a 6'2", 200-pound linebacker who flows to the football with good closing speed with the ability to make effective tackles in open space. When I see this kid tackle in space on his film, I think he's one of the best tacklers at the linebacker position in this 2026 class. Just the way that he breaks down in space, his ability to basically get down in that basketball-like position when he's defending in space, bring his pads and also bring his arms, wrap and roll. Great effective tackler in the open space, easily why he's one of the best linebacker prospects in this 2026 recruiting class. He's also a natural while dropping back in coverage, works back downhill really good. It can make the break plays on the football really efficiently, which is something that we saw flash when we saw him in action at the Under Armour Atlanta camp. A guy who the Crimson Tide, I think, will continue to evaluate, continue to look at. I think they like him in this 2026 recruiting class. Just another one of those examples of how the linebacker position has continued to change. If you look at Davis, you look at his frame, he doesn't look like your old school Ray Lewis, big bulky type of linebacker. I think those guys are going away from the game as the game continues to grow and continues to lean more towards those athletic type of linebackers. I think Davis is right in that conversation as well. So Crimson Tide will get him on campus for an official visit in the future. Also is possibly looking at taking an unofficial visit to the Crimson Tide in the month of March or April during the spring when the Crimson Tide get back to spring practice. So look out for that visit as well. We're going to stay in the state of Georgia. I'm going to stay at that Under Armour camp and talk about another Georgia prospect who the Crimson Tide are going after. Now we're going to shine a light on Kaden Prothro, the 6'6" plus tight end out of Georgia who is just great. You just take a look at what he brings to the table. He's just a rare talent. 6'6" plus doesn't supposed to move like Kaden Prothro move, and we saw that live in action with our own eyes at that camp, and that footage is coming from the weekend. Be sure to check out our interview with Prothro on our YouTube channel, and he basically talked about how the Crimson Tide love him, talk about how Alabama's tight ends coach has been contacting him pretty much every day, saying that they don't have a guy like him. To be honest, they don't have too many guys like Kaden Prothro at that tight end position. And from last season, of course, Nick Sheridan was the Crimson Tide's offensive coordinator. We saw that they want to get their tight ends involved, and Kaden Prothro knows that. He visited Alabama for games 2 times during the 2024 football season. He spoke highly about the Crimson Tide and how they use the tight end position. So he's really, really interested. Has Alabama in his top 5, along with Auburn, Georgia, Florida, and Texas. So he's considering multiple SEC programs. Alabama will get him on campus for an official visit on June 6th. I think he has to be a priority target for Alabama just based on what he brings to the table. Just a rare talent. I really like him. I'm really high on his potential. No matter where he goes, I think he has potential to be really, really good at the next level. Now we're going to go to the state of Alabama, but also not leaving that camp. Like I told you guys, that camp is filled with so many great prospects, and a prospect who many may not have been talking about at the beginning of the camp was Barber Jr., a 2026 wide receiver out of Spain Park High School in Hoover, Alabama. We actually knew about him. We've known about him for several months now here at Touchdown Alabama. If you guys follow our Touchdown Alabama recruiting site, which basically highlight some of the top prospects in the state of Alabama, regardless of if they have an Alabama offer at the moment. Barber Jr. was a guy we had an opportunity to highlight several times because we were just fans of his game, fans of his ability to create separation when running routes, and fans of his ability to make plays after the catch. We saw that live in action over the weekend in Atlanta, and it looks as if Alabama saw that as well because they extended an offer to him on today. When you take a look at Barber, you're talking about an explosive wide receiver. Like I said earlier, can create separation with his route running ability. Had 1,439 receiving yards and 17 touchdowns for Spain Park during the 2024 season. He just shined throughout that season, which is what caught our eyes here at Touchdown Alabama. We saw him putting up so many impressive numbers during the 2024 season. He was really impressive over the weekend. Like I said, the Crimson Tide have extended an offer to him, had an opportunity to catch up with Barber and talk about that specific offer. This is what he had to say about the tradition the Crimson Tide have and their reputation that they have of developing wide receivers. Alabama is known for being wide receiver U. They produce the best guys at receiver, and it's a great place to go to get ready for the league. He said also about the offer, it means a lot being from Bama, a lot of legacy behind it. We talked to him over the weekend too, just talking about his recruitment before the Crimson Tide got involved, and he told us that he wanted to possibly be committed before his senior season began. So that points at him possibly taking official visits during the summer. He literally just got his offer from the Crimson Tide, but he plans to visit as soon as possible, most likely in the spring at this particular point. So we'll see how his recruitment continues to move forward and where the Crimson Tide will land in his recruitment as things continue to move forward. The last guy I want to talk about on this episode is another in-state recruit. We're going to give a flash to the future here, but we're going to stay at that camp as well. We're going to talk about 2027 four-star edge Jabarius Garror out of Viger High School in Alabama. He's currently verbally committed to the Crimson Tide already. So Alabama have basically got a jump on the competition on one of the top edges in the state of Alabama for the next recruiting class. An opportunity to talk with him about what committed to Alabama at this point, because he's approaching being committed to Alabama for more than a year, committing to the Crimson Tide in July of 2024. When I asked him about the Crimson Tide and his commitment, he said all the coaches and the family at Alabama basically what is keeping him committed. It's a great place to be. It's just like being at home. So that's what I want, the home feeling. So saying that is the reason why he's staying committed. Talk to him about Kaden Prothro. He feels like he stepped up as a coach. He feels that Alabama is getting back to the old Alabama because of some of the changes that he see that they are making. He feels like Kaden Prothro is going to fit into Nick Saban's spot really well. So Garror is just a fan of what the Crimson Tide's program is trending towards in the future under Kaden Prothro as he enters his second year as the Crimson Tide's head coach. But those are the prospects I wanted to highlight on this episode of The Process. As always, thank you guys so much for joining me today on our YouTube channel. Before you leave, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Subscribe to the notification bell. Be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. And as always, I am Justin Smith, the director of recruiting and the managing editor here at Touchdown Alabama.
Process.